Hey everybody, Kevin Purcell with the Theotek podcast this morning, and on this Friday after Easter, we've had a lot going on. We missed last week because it was a Good Friday and a lot of us were unavailable, and so we wanted to jump back on, and it looks like our good friend Rick Mansfield just jumped back on. He's you're down in Louisiana, is that right?
I am. I'm in northern Louisiana, sitting outside. I have Flat River behind me, and just a nice morning out here.
Down visiting the in-laws, I hear.
That's right.
All right, and Antoine's back home in good old Charlotte. He's got the normal relaxed look. How's it going, bud?
Not going too bad. Definitely been a busy week on my end as well, and I'm looking forward to a birthday weekend coming up where I can reflect and relax a little bit.
All right, cool. Well, we've got a bunch of things to talk about. First of all, a lot of people are talking this morning, if you're an Apple fan, about the Apple Watch, and we might get into that a little bit later. But two of our good friends in the Bible software world released some online versions of their Bible software. One took what they had and renamed it, and the other one took what they had and reskinned it and added it to another product, and so we'll get into that here in just a minute. But the first one that we're going to talk about is actually a product called Logos Now. It comes from Logos, or Logos, if you want to mispronounce it like they do. And what what it is a subscription model, and I'm going to share my screen so you can get a look at this. What it is, this is the product page for it. Logos Now is a subscription model. So over here it says $8.99 a month, and that is a monthly thing. You can get a 30-day free trial of it. What you get with Logos Now is you get some new data sets and new features in Logos 6. Essentially, these are things that they bill it as. We wouldn't have released this until the next version, say Logos 7. But if you want to pay us $9 a month to test out our new features, we'd love for you to do that because we like money. And that's essentially what the head of Logos said in their forums. We're doing this so we can get more money. He made a big long post justifying why that's the case, and that's fine. They're a business, and if they need more money and people want to give them money, there's nothing wrong with that. But what you get in this is there's two new data sets. I'll try to show these to you. I really haven't played around with the data sets at all. And then there's some new interactive media called the Commandments of the Law. There's some media collections, Logos stock images, visual copy templates. And I don't need to read this to you. You guys can read. But the thing that really I think is the most interesting probably is the Logos Now website. And I always have trouble remembering what the thing is to go there. Do you remember I think Rick, you said you signed up for this. Do you remember the website is?
I did sign up for the free trial. I don't know if I'm going to stay more than the free trial, but I can't remember. I had to go in and look for it. It's not something that they had an image that showed something like cloud dot whatever, but that wasn't it. Their image was not even correct. So it's something.logos.com, but I don't remember the first prefix there.
Yeah, and I'm drawing a total blank, and so I may have to go into the forums and find it. But the website looks a lot like the interface of the Bible study and the computer program that they produce, Logos Bible Study or Bible software. But most of it doesn't work, and once I find it, I'll get in there and show that to you. And so essentially you're paying $9 for some new data sets, some media, and access to an online site that is nowhere near finished yet. Give me, as a Bible software employee, first let's make it clear, if you don't remember, Rick Mansfield has joined us a couple of times before, And we really kind of just jumped over this. Rick, you're now sort of our newest member of the team. You're going to be a regular with us, and we want to welcome you, and we're excited to have you with us.
Thanks.
Team. But you work with Accordance Bible Software. You showed us the last time we were on. You showed us the new Accordance Mobile 2.0, and
right.
I think that's an exciting upgrade. And I've been planning to write up a nice review of it for my website, kevinpurcell.org. But from the perspective of an admittedly possibly biased person, what do you think of the new Logos Now?
Yeah, and again, I'm sure some will call me biased, and I don't mean to be. Let me say up front that I am also a Logos customer, so I think at the very least that gives me the right to say something. But I did sign up for the free trial just to see what was in it. I don't know if I will stay longer. It kind of, if you look on the forums, and I was following the main forum thread that's multiple pages long now. There's been actually a lot of backlash against this. It does seem to me that they've found a way to get people to pay to beta test their software, which is an amazing thing. And you get these new features that supposedly will be in Logos 7 down the road, but there's no guarantee. Nothing has been stated yet. Okay, are you going to get a discount for Logos 7 when the time comes that it comes out? Or are you going to just have to pay for this again? And you've been paying for the privilege of using it ahead of time, or is it now a full-blown subscription thing where you don't have to? They haven't really been clear on that yet. So, and the features that are there right now, the media browser is kind of nice, but the online portion of it is really not even as stable as the Biblia.com, which has been around for a while. So, to me, it's kind of a wait and see. To see what's going to be implemented over the next, I guess, few weeks and months.
Yeah, Antoine, what do you think of this idea of a subscription model where you're paying for future features that might show up in the main program?
I don't agree with the idea of paying for future features. I do agree with the idea of a subscription model for certain types of users of Bible software, if that makes a little bit more sense. For the general reader of Bible software who may only occasionally need some additional study materials, having a subscription model where they don't necessarily have to buy the content but pay for one-time access or a couple months access to something. Maybe they're doing some extra schooling, or their church is doing, a study on, the book of John, the Gospel of John, and they want to, purchase some extra materials to go along with that study, but may not want those materials afterwards, or at least initially may not think they need it afterwards. A subscription model works really well for that kind of mindset. I do think that it works, as for those persons who are used to the Kindle model, the Amazon model of purchasing books where they just need access for the books. They don't necessarily need to keep a library and have an office full of books that they've read once, read twice, maybe not reference again. That's where it comes in handy. I don't think the idea of paying right now for some upgrade that you're going to have later makes a lot of sense. That's hedging a very hard bet, and that's probably putting too much responsibility on the company to come through with that future plan, or at least come through in a manner that's timely enough for you who are making that payment. I've said years ago that I think Logos, Olive Tree, Accordance, and others should definitely look at a subscription model. It's good to see both Logos and Word Search pulling something off like this. I think it just should be targeted to specific use cases, not to their general users or their usual users.
Can I ask a question? Has anything been said specifically about subscribing to the software or subscribing to content? Because right now it just seems like you're subscribing to new features. You know what I mean? I mean, I haven't found anything in the copy that says you're necessarily subscribing to the engine or subscribing to book
That's
content or anything like that.
You're definitely not subscribing to that. It does not have a situation where what I would like to see, and I think what Antoine was describing. By the way, I'm showing you this is what the web app looked like, and the address is app.logos.com.
That's right.
In order to get to it. That's why that. I mean, web app maybe, or anyway. They are saying no, it is not a subscription to our software or any content other than these few specific things that are included in it, and the few specific things are, as I showed at that very first screen. I can go back to it here. These things right here. That's all you're subscribing to. These data sets, this interactive media, and the media browser, which I can show you that here in just a little bit. This new concordance tool, and access to this Logos web app that I'm showing right here. And to give you an idea of where they're at right now, if you've used Logos, this looks a little bit like the interface that you get when you open up Logos 6 Bible software. Okay, click on the home page, you get a check back soon error. Click on your library and it shows you your library. Click on search and it gives you this search box. Click on documents, check back soon. That would be normally where you would find like your notes, your highlights. If you've done any, I use the visual outlining feature, sentence diagramming feature a lot. That's where you would find that. It's not there. The guides, the thing that sold me on Logos, before anybody was really doing it that I know of, they had a thing, where you type in your passage and it goes and finds all the information in your library about that passage, or you type in a topic. Now most people can do that. Most of the Bible software. Accordance has a feature similar to that, don't they?
Yeah, the info pane.
Yeah, and then the tools feature. This is where you would open, say, the sentence diagramming tool or other tools in the software. So none of that works. All right. Now you can type in something here. Say I'm preaching on 1 Corinthians 13. So type that in and it brings it up. And then if you want, I'll close this search button and it's got the Faith Life Study Bible open. You can open up other things like you normally would. The Layouts button, again, check back soon. The Help button, check back soon. This has never done anything. It doesn't even tell me to check back soon. It just, it's a hover over and it turns blue, and that's pretty. And that's it. So it's really, really rudimentary. There's not a lot here. If I open up the ESV, maybe. Well, see there, I can't even open up filter by.
When I was coming back online, Rick, you were mentioning about the pushback about folks pushing back in the forums there,
right?
About feeling like they were paying for software. Was kind of the consensus because they were paying for features that they were used to.
Well, I think that first of all, I think there is some confusion about exactly what this is, because from some of what I've read, people are afraid that they're going entirely subscription for everything, and they haven't stated that. Whether or not they want to do that long term, I don't know. And so a lot of the pushback was for that. And then there was some pushback just because there aren't a whole lot of features yet. Of course, this first month is free, and as it probably should be, because there's not a whole lot here at the moment.
If you notice, I tried to open the English Standard Version, which I do have a license to. Sorry, you don't have permission. So it's really buggy. The web app is just really buggy and bad. To answer your question, Antoine, the pushback, first of all, the Logos forums are kind of a funny thing. You go in there and two things happen. You make a comment critical of Logos, and instantly you get slammed by the Logos faithful, who will basically they treat you like why would anyone ever say anything bad about Logos whatsoever?
Right.
The greatest company that's ever lived. They make Apple look like a bunch of neophytes, and there's just no good reason to ever criticize them. They're giving you all of this great content, and all you have to do is give them all your money, and that's so fair. I'm exaggerating and being a little silly.
There's a lot of
You're
truth.
not exaggerating.
And then the other
Many
side,
years ago, when I was, that's exactly what I experienced in the Logos forums years ago. So yeah, I don't feel that exaggeration at all.
and then the other side of it is, there are people who are at the other extreme, and I sit there and wonder, why are you here? Why do you even care? Why do you, they act like the opposite, like Hitler himself formed Logos, and so it's why is a Bible software company so polarizing like this? I think the legitimate beef that people are having is one that I sort of feel, and that is, I'm paying you. I'd never even put it in the perspective that you did, Rick. If I'm paying you to beta test software, I think they would say, well, it's not beta. It's all it's all working, so it's not.
But
beta.
it's not.
Yeah, you're right, and so maybe some of it isn't. The web app they say is a beta, and so it's definitely not working. These other things, let me go ahead and share with my screen so you can see a little bit of what these other ones. Some of them are hard to even find at this point.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's the Logos screen. So you notice on the web app, if you would open Tools, it would have said Check Back Soon. Well, here it pops up, and here's, for example, the media browser.
Back when I used to.
This is sort of interesting. Their media browser, it shows you a lot of content. These are some pretty little images. God is great. And you can post that. It's got sharing features over here. If I want, I can put that on Twitter. And it pops up a Twitter account, which I'm not going to do that right now. That's one of the things is available there.
I think I might have just figured this out. This is really weird. One of the things we used to do, when I was doing web design, is most of my day-to-day. I was working with a company, pretty big advertising lobbyist type company, and our lead designer had a really good philosophy. He would never put "coming soon" on anything. If the feature wasn't ready, the feature wouldn't even be out there. Because he was a rock star developer, but he was a genuinely dang near rock star designer as well, and he understood that even if something wasn't ready, you can't give a false impression like it's going to be ready when the audience is ready to expect it. It's ready when it's done. And so he never put up a coming soon page. He would never put up a feature when it wasn't ready. And to that end, he got paid a good bit of money because he could keep coming up with beautiful things that were extremely functional. What I'm hearing and seeing here with Logos is that they're trying to have folks pay for a better experience. They're improving. They want to improve the UX. They want to improve the quality of their offering, if not in the content, but in the wrapper, to that content and the features around it. But it seems like there wasn't enough polish on the product decision side. There wasn't enough know to what you're running in. You shouldn't have, even on a alpha piece of software that's public like this, you shouldn't see so many "coming soon," "this feature's not yet working." There shouldn't be buttons that should be showing that aren't working, and therefore, if you're already interested.
And he's frozen.
Yeah.
I see where he was going, and that is the idea that don't show them, don't let people see backstage.
Right.
You only want the presented product, and that's one philosophy. I personally like this idea of, hey, let me watch it be developed in progress, and as long as they make that clear, then that's fine, and I don't mind that. I'm not crazy about is being asked to pay to do that. on the case of the web app. Of all of this stuff, most of this other stuff I don't care about. What I'm showing you right now on screen is the new concordance feature. And when I first heard of this, I was like, well, isn't that what all Bible software is basically a digital concordance? But what this does is it organizes and shows you, like, every time the word Lord, in a ranked view from the most used words down in a Bible, and then you can set all these filters. That's interesting. It might be useful for some people in the kind of research that they do, but as a pastor and preacher, I never do this kind of research.
Yeah.
Rarely do I do it. And when I do find things like this interesting, it's because I saw it in some commentary and someone else did the stuff. So for an advanced Bible student, maybe they would, who's doing PhD level research, maybe they would find this interesting, but I don't. But again, getting back to that viewpoint, Antoine, I was sort of picking up your idea of, don't let them see the backstage. I like the idea of seeing the backstage. I don't mind seeing it. And for all of this stuff that they're presenting here, for me, the most exciting thing is the web app, because I like the idea of having the interface that I use on my, my MacBook be the same interface that I use on my Chromebook and on my iPad. And with this web app, if they ever finish it, which I think they will, I hope they will, then hey, I get that,
I get that, and I agree with you. I think the same or consistent UI is a great idea. What I don't agree with is showing me the things that are coming or still in development or are broken, while you are trying to endear me to the fact that you're giving me a better experience overall. That's something from my end. I mean, I'm on the product design, process management side. Show me a completed process. Don't show me the thing in play.
Yeah.
Well, and Logos has always had 2 levels of beta testers anyway. I mean, we do that at Accordance too. There's the kind of the public beta that's always ongoing of new features, and then they always, there's a smaller group that they see the stuff that's coming down the road and can test that out. It's what's interesting here is that they've broadened that, and allowed people to kind of buy in to pay that. And again, I think the question is further down the road. But to come back to this idea of a web app, I do think that this solves a couple of problems for them. It solves the Chromebook issue, and it also solves the Windows tablet issue, or the low-end Windows PC, like some of the HP Stream PCs, and that Logos just won't run. You really need a i5 or an i7 to run Logos well, and so this would help with that. What's yet to be seen, because we really can't see the full interface in place, is the speed. Because that's the difficulty with, one reason you use Bible software over just like going to a website is because you have more features. The problem is those features take CPU power, and that's very difficult to translate over the internet. Even though our internet is better than it was a few years ago, it's still not where I would like it to be yet.
I'm showing you I found how to get to one of the new features, and that is these propositional outlines. And they had some tools that you could just open the tool, but what they're doing is they're marrying that tool now and putting it in the text of the book. So let me float this so you can see a bigger picture of it. And the way you get at this, if you're a Logos user, is these visual filters, and you just turn on the propositional outline. So here's what it looks like without it. This is the ESV of the book of Ruth. By the way, not all the books of the Bible have this yet. It's mostly the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and then a number of other Old Testament books like Ruth. But see, now they've got these propositional outlines over here, and you hover over it, and it pops up and tells you what this is. And so that might be useful, at some level. I put this in the category of extremely advanced PhD level research, or just the Bible geeks who like this stuff. I would never probably spend a lot of time sharing this information with my church members in a sermon or Bible study, because I just don't think it's necessary. Now, every once in a while you might unearth something that's interesting that affects the meaning or the understanding of the meaning of the text, and I might mention, here's what this means, but I would never say, Well, this is in the propositional outline. This is a reason under I would never do any of that kind of
Well,
stuff.
this is rhetorical analysis. Is what it is. If it was in a literature class, it'd be called rhetorical analysis. And you're exactly right. You're not gonna say that in front of a congregation and talk about it from that aspect. But correct me if I'm wrong. The propositional outlines were already a part of Logos 6. But it wasn't for every book, and so the Logos now adds more books. Am I correct in that?
Well, yes and no. It was in it in that they had tools that if you owned them, you could open them and see this.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't remember what the names of those tools are because I never used them.
Yeah.
Now what they've done is they've taken that, and instead of being a separate book you have to open separately, now you go to the visual filter here and turn it on there. Okay. And so that's one of these things. Let me unfloat this. I ought to just learn these keyboard shortcuts. I'm bad about learning keyboard shortcuts. One of the other things, I showed you the media browser. There's the concordance feature, and there's one other one that I wanted to show you, and I can't remember what it is now. But that's essentially what you're getting, is just a few new features plus the web app and the media browser. So, for what it's worth, I don't think we need to spend a lot more time on this other than to say I'm disappointed that they didn't go further with the subscription and say, hey, if you want to subscribe to this level of library, we're going to sell you a subscription to, say, the Logos, I don't even remember what they call it, the Gold package. And it'll be $29.99 a month for the Logos Gold package, which is like a $3,000 or $4,000 package if you bought it brand new. And to me, if they had done that plus add this stuff, this would have been an incredibly valuable thing. Here's why they didn't do it: because it would benefit me in the sense that I would pay less initially for the investment, whereas, and I can't find the post in the forums, but Bob Pritchett went into the forum and made a really long post,
right?
Essential nature of which said, we did this because we needed more money. And that was really almost the entirety of what his post was about.
It's a revenue stream issue, and any company at all, and especially software companies, and Microsoft is a good example of this with Office. I know people who are still using Office 98. Because they haven't had any if someone just goes into Word or maybe occasionally Excel or PowerPoint, they can do a lot of what they can do without upgrading. And so Microsoft went to the Office 365. You don't have to do it; you can still buy it, but they made the 365 very attractive because you can put Office on multiple devices. You can put it on tablets. You get unlimited OneDrive storage and so it's interesting, of course Adobe's done that with Creative Cloud. It's an interesting question. Is that what we're heading to with any professional software application? Because again, it's the advantage to the company in that you have a regular revenue stream as opposed to an occasional, maybe if I have to upgrade, I'll get around to it.
Here's the post.
Rick, what you threw out there, Rick, you threw out something very important though when you mentioned those other two, Adobe and Microsoft. You gave the example of if you want to do, a specific task, there's a task that you want to do that's not, that's normal, that's worth you upgrading or that's worth seeing in a new application. Then, and if the subscription is priced accordingly, you'll buy it. And
right.
and I think that's true for just about anybody. The user experience has to be polished or at least address a major pain point, such that it makes that subscription a viable idea. I think Microsoft did an excellent thing with Office 2013 and 365. Saying, hey, if you're a business and you want to plug into this is the route that you have to go. And if you're a consumer, here's your other route. If your screen is smaller than 9 inches, it's free, and et cetera, et cetera. Those kind of things cause people to spend money.
Yeah. But now is there a distinction here too? And again, Logos hasn't said that they're having you subscribe to content. I don't know if that's what they want to do long term, but it seems to me there's a distinction between something like Office 365 versus a Logos or Accordance or something like that. I personally don't want to have content, my books my digital library, at the mercy of a subscription fee, because I'm at this point in my life, I'm not interested in building up my physical library anymore. I'd much rather have a digital library that I can take with me on all my devices anywhere that I want to go. But I don't want to all of a sudden get to the point, I can't access something because I forgot to pay my subscription. To me, Bible software is very different from Office 365.
In that wise, I agree. It is different, and the only reason why Bible software, and probably one of the reasons why Logos has gone the route that they have, those licensing rules for Bible software, it's an atrocious mess.
And frankly, I don't know if publishers will allow content to be subscribed to, because my wife is the media librarian consultant for the Kentucky Department of Education, and she was telling me about Overdrive, which is software that you use to check out books from a library. And you could check out 26 books at a time, and publishers threw a fit over that. And that has scaled back, and I don't know what the number is now, but it's much less than what it used to be.
It's way less. Yeah, it depends on the state. It actually depends on the state and the school district, which is really interesting. Yeah. That is, the publishers are not coming up with this kind of. They're not coming up with the subscription models to make things better. These ideas of subscriptions are coming outside of that publishing queue, and so it's gonna be a while before we see something smart happen. I think Financial Times has probably one of the best subscription models. The New York Times has a really great subscription model, available. But it's very few and far between where you see publishers, content publishers that are on the boat, and with what users need.
Yeah.
Well, this is the long post that Bob Pritchett, the CEO of Logos, posted, and so if you want to find it, go to the, just go to logos.com and find the forums, and it's basically community at logos.com. They now have a new Logos Now sub-forum, and why subscription is the post that you want to look for. And it is instructive, and if I'm reading between the lines, it seems to me to say, we're never going to take your books away from you, but then he says in this paragraph, and when this model works, a wonderful side effect appears: the cost of entry to the platform goes down. But here's the thing: this $8.99 does not give you any books right now,
right?
Except for these few data sets, and so that it's almost like he's tipping the hat to say, here's what might be coming. You might be able to get one of these packages in the future at a subscription rate. And so starting with the product doesn't have a large upfront cost. Well, yeah, $8.99 gets you next to nothing. And so I would never suggest a new customer to Logos go and pay $8.99 to get into this thing, because they're not going to get much of anything that's any real value. There's a few neat added features for people who already own it. So I don't know. It's almost like he's saying, maybe not unintentionally saying, here's where we're going, folks, to a subscription model for your library. But that's not what it is now. It is not a Netflix style or Office 365 style subscription. It is it's more akin to, say, if you own a Chevrolet vehicle and you want to subscribe to OnStar. It's an extra feature on top of what you already own. But another side of online Bible study, by the way, Logos Now is not just online Bible study, but that's the thing I was excited about it. And that is what we have now in my Word Search Bible. Are either of you Word Search customers?
Yes. Yeah, I have a Word Search library going back to the 90s.
Okay. I have a very large one, and most of it was given to me by Word Search as a something that I can, review the product for the company. And so just fair upfront, exposure here.
Much of that applies to me too.
Yeah, I was given a lot of what I own, so if that affects how you think of what I think of their product, should say something. I will say that I have word search on my computer primarily only because of the books I have in word search, not because of the features of word search. But
Yeah,
you
me
go to
too.
the website, and first of all, here's what it looks like. You sign in up here using your Lifeway ID, because remember, Lifeway, the publishing arm of the Southern Baptist Convention, bought word search a couple of years.
Right.
So you sign in with your Lifeway ID, okay, and then you can, well, there I just exposed my private email, but anyway, that's okay. You you then link your word search ID with your Lifeway ID if you haven't already done that. If you're a word search customer, you've probably already done that. So then you can go into your library here, and you can open a book. Let's go find a Bible translation. By the way, they've got some books misnamed here, like Apologetic Study Bible is not a translation. It's a study Bible. But, you know, we'll give them a pass because it's new for now. Anyway, so let's open it up.
Good thing LaRosa's not here.
What's that?
Good thing LaRosa's not here. He'd have a fit about that. He probably worked on those books.
Yeah, okay. Either the left or right, so you can put it in either the left-hand pane or the right-hand pane. We'll start by putting it in the left because that's always where I put my Bibles to begin with. Now, I've done this earlier, so I had my Holman Christian Standard Bible open, and now I've got my ESV. And it looks a lot like, if any of you have ever used my study Bible on the internet, that was also a word search product. This is essentially my study Bible sort of reskinned a little bit. And then over here you've got, you know, you can open up my content, drop down, see your bookmarks and notes. This is the cross-reference tool. Drop this down. You want to open the commentary tool to get to a commentary, and here it has commentary for Genesis, and you know it's a little confusing what you're looking at, what you're seeing, and how you open things to different places. But again, the difference between the Logos Now and this is free. If you're a customer, you get it free. It's not going to cost you a dime. And I like this because while it doesn't have near the features that word search has, it has what I want to quickly get at, and it's free. I don't have to pay anything, and I get access to my, again, not my entire library, because I actually have more books than, I've got more than 2,200 books because they gave me like 2,500 almost to begin with as a way to...
that may be publisher restrictions that you're not seeing.
Probably. Yeah, probably. But anyway, so I can access a lot of my content. We'll put that in the left-hand pane, so, or the right-hand pane. So, you know, if I wanted to open another book on this side, I can do so. Now, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this, mainly because it's so new. But you know, it's got some nice features. What do you think? Have you seen this, and what do you think of it if you have?
I haven't looked at it yet, but Kevin, what do you think is who is this for? Because I mean, is this the Chromebook solution? Because to me, it would still be better to use the actual native software. And of course, there's an app on the iPad, and I assume on Android devices.
Well, the app that's available, the word search apps that are available, in my opinion, are just slightly better than nothing. Okay.
Okay.
They're just okay. This is actually, in my opinion, a little bit better than those apps. However, you know, you have to have internet access to use this.
Right.
On the other. Yeah, I think this is the Chromebook solution. This is the, you know, netbook of the, you know, last decade is now the sub-optimally powered Windows, like the HP Stream 13 that I bought my wife and my son. I bought each of them one of those because they're so cheap. You know, the HP Stream 13 is a $300 Windows computer, and you know, it does everything my wife wants it to do. And she's not going to use a Chromebook because she wants Windows. Because she wants Office on it.
But wouldn't word search run fine on the HP Stream, other than the size of perhaps of the content and the smaller drive?
If you have a large library like I do, you know, almost the entire 16 gigabytes of available. It says it has 32, but it's really only about 16, and really only about gigabytes. And so, you know, I immediately tried to install word search and Logos on it, and I couldn't do both.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do Logos at all because Logos library is like 20 gigabytes.
And it's processor intensive. The software is.
Yeah, and so word search does run fairly well on meager equipment, much better than.
Does it have an option on something like the Stream of putting the library onto an SD card? Because you can do that in Accordance. I've got my Accordance library on my Toshiba tablet, Windows tablet, where I've got the library on an SD card, but I put the engine on the main drive so that the engine is moving faster, but that data, it's not that big a deal to have it on a separate drive.
Yes, you could do that in word search. There's a place if you just installed it and then copied all your books over to the SD card, or didn't download them yet when you initially installed it, and then go into settings and change the directory of it, and it's pretty easy to find. And so in that case, it's very much like Accordance. Accordance is, you guys, I got to give it to you guys. I haven't used it a lot lately, but I've been, or until recently, I haven't used it a lot. Recently, I've been using it more, and that's just you guys have some very good coders at Accordance.
Yes, we do.
Stable, very quick.
Yeah.
So.
Lean and mean, old school.
If I could shift my libraries into Accordance today for $0, I probably would begin being an Accordance #1 customer, and that's saying something, because I've invested a lot of time and effort into learning Logos, Word Search, and Olive Tree, and so that's high compliment. I hope you'll
thank you.
Let your folks know that.
Sure.
Antoine, what do you think of this? This is more akin to what you were talking about of being able to get your library online. What do you think?
Yeah, you get your library online. It's simple. Like you mentioned before, it's not the full application, so it's to the point. And you only see what's available. Which again makes for it might not make for the most competitive product, but it makes for something polished that allows whoever the target audience is to pick up the vision and run with it. And so tying it into already existing users, you said you have word search and you've got an extended library on your big machine, but maybe you want to access this on that HP or your Chromebook, and you may not need every publication that you have, but you want to have access to a chunk of those. It works.
And this is something I just discovered. Again, I told you I haven't played with this much at all, but if you turn on the Strong's numbers in line, you can notice I clicked on the word darkness. Now I click on evening, and so you can get some limited, original language study, depending on what dictionaries you have and that kind of thing. So again, it's a useful tool. I think this would be great if I had my Chromebook out. My thought was, all I'm planning to do today is do some writing, and then I think, oh, but I've got an idea for my sermon. I want to check this out, and so, I just wanted to do some quick and dirty Bible study. I wasn't needing to do the full thing. I like that they have this. You asked, who is this for? The other solution is, let's say you decide to go visit somebody, and you think, all I'm going to need is my iPad this week when I'm away, or my tablet or whatever it is that you have, and then you say, no, I want to sit down at a computer, but I didn't bring it. I can sit down at my dad's computer or something like that and do some work. I don't know how many people don't bring their computer these days. I still bring my laptop everywhere.
Oh God, no, never. No. Travel light, man. Travel light. Got to get you a Surface 3.
I love being able to take just my iPad, but my Windows 10. It's rare that I can do that.
Yeah.
But if I can, I will. By the way, have you tried this? Have you looked at this interface on the iPad? Because I know sometimes the Safari browser on the iPad is a bit wonky with certain interfaces.
To be honest with you, no, I haven't, because I just haven't had the time to spend a lot of time with this. I just discovered this a little over a week ago, and the crazy thing was, for some reason, I didn't remember my Lifeway ID. Okay. Because the last time I used it was when I linked word search to my Lifeway ID about 2 years ago.
Which I haven't done yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I've never done that since. Okay, so I was like, how do I get into this? All right.
Well, an interesting experiment for you would be, since you mentioned the word search app not being all that great on the iPad, what's the better experience? If this is a better experience in the Safari browser on the iPad than the web app, that might be a pretty good mobile solution.
Yeah, as we speak, I am trying to log in on my Samsung Galaxy Note 4.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes here in just a second. I can answer your question in just a second. As far as, and that's a very a 6-inch screen versus a 10-inch screen on an iPad or larger. Let's see here. It says sending information, and it's doing nothing. So, did it log me in? Yeah, it did. I can show you the, in sort of a wonky way, I can show you the screen. Does that help?
Yeah.
You can sort of see that's the menu instead of getting what you saw at the top. That's on the side. So let me open up my library, and now it's opening. Yeah, all you're seeing is a big white mess, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe if I pull back. No, it's not. You're not gonna be able to see it. But it does. It works, and
I'll have to play with it myself. You've got me intrigued.
Yeah, I mean it works. I wouldn't want to use this on a phone.
Yeah.
Often, but if you got into a pinch and had to, like let's say I had I can't imagine why I would ever do this, but because I do have the word search app on my phone, and I would just go in there and do it. But I guess if I was borrowing someone's phone and I remembered a book I had in my word search library and I wanted to show it to them, I could do that. But that's the only reason I can think of.
I'll throw a use case out there that's actually similar to that for you. Just to throw your brain around. When I got my Nexus 5 and I decided to upgrade my Nexus 5 to 5.1, one of the things I did not do is there were a lot of applications that I did not reload, and I could foresee, for whatever reason, maybe the performance of the app, or maybe some of the features you didn't get the desired features you wanted. You decided, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to use the web bookmark. And I'll use the web bookmark to go ahead and go to my word search resources versus downloading the app and fiddling through features that I may or may not be completely happy with. My expectations for a web app already being set lower than that for an application. Therefore, I just won't load the application and just go from the web app from there. That's essentially what I do for every social media site on my Android device right now, and I've been a very happy Android user because of that, I think.
What's interesting is I just discovered this at the bottom of the screen on my previous screen. There was a little link that said beta, and so now I have just opened up the beta of my word search Bible and see how different it looks. The menu is now over here like it was on my phone. So I guess on my phone I accidentally hit this. And actually I like this better than what it was. And so if you go
cleaner.
You see at the bottom, you'll see this, it'll be a link that says to use the beta version. Click on that and it'll bring you to this. You'll have to sign in again, but it's beta.mywsb.com is the thing for that. And then you can even go to the store. I guess that just takes you to the word search website. So, hey, I like this. It's free. And Chromebook users will love these two websites. They'll love the Logos Now when it's finished, because it's not. It's little more than, their biblia.com. In fact, that's what they say in their forum. One of the employees of Faith Life said it's basically Biblia with a new screen or the new skin right now, and that later on we'll be adding the other features like the tools menu, the documents menu, the home page, that kind of thing. Well, I think we've covered these, unless either of you have something else about either one of these two new websites.
No.
Okay. I'm interested to see where it all goes because, again, I'm very pro mobile. I'm not sure the internet has caught up yet with where I want to be. So, I don't want to depend upon the internet, but because I like to have everything downloaded, but it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
There are solutions that aren't being explored. Technical solutions that just aren't being explored, and I have a very good idea from the publishing side why it's not.
Yeah.
But the web could be better. The web could definitely be better.
Right.
And if you want to know more about these features of what's included, again, in the Logos Now side, without having to go through the trouble of signing up, if you go into that Logos Now forum in their community.logos.com site, there's a thing called Logos Now. What does it contain? And Lyndon Williams is a real sharp guy, someone I've followed a long time on various social media, and he's made links to all the stuff that's included in it. The Greek grammatical construction data set, which I still don't know what that is. I haven't played with it enough to understand all of these things. You can find out there's videos that Logos has posted about that, and one day they'll make these available on YouTube, and I'm going to put them on my website. I did just an overview of what it is on kevinpurcell.org. You can find it there. So I hope you'll go check that out. One of the things I also am interested in, Rick, you said that you told us before the show you ordered the Apple Watch last night. Why in the world did you wait till 3 in the morning, stay up till 3 in the morning, and hand Apple more of your money?
Well, I'm intrigued to see how to work. I had the Pebble Watch for a while, and the Pebble Watch just kind of drove me crazy. It was just constant notifications, and so I resold it, and I was fortunate that I was able to resell it at the same price that I paid for it. But the Apple Watch will do more. You can dictate to it, and of course, like a lot of the Android watches that are out now, and so because I'm more Mac based, and I don't currently I don't have any Android devices, although I have in the past. I wanted to see what it would do, but I got up in the middle of the night because it was being sold at midnight or 12:01 Pacific time, and so because I normally live in the Eastern time zone, but we're visiting family in the Central time zone, and so I got up at 2 o'clock, and I ordered one for myself, and I ordered one for my stepfather, and I ordered for both of us the aluminum. Since the low end is the Sport, the space gray, which is kind of the black one, and by the time, I probably had them both ordered by 5 after 2, but because of limited availability of these things, it was already pushed back to sometime, I think, between May 13th and 24th. And now if you order one, I think you're into August to get one.
Mid to late August on the early side.
But I'm hoping, though, that they'll ramp up production maybe, and I won't have to wait that long, because and Apple's done that in the past. When they've had big demand for something, they've just ramped up production. But ultimately they're limited on to how quickly they can produce things. So we'll see.
What do you think? Was that a huge number of sales, or they just didn't make that many? Not sure that.
No, they didn't. They already said. Remember, I don't know if you remember back in the keynote back in a couple months ago, they said they would only have a limited number available when they do go up for order on the 24th. I think it was projected to be about 600,000 to 1 million that they were aiming to have available, knowing that they were probably going to be supply constrained.
Well, they had said 5 million production run for this production, which is the largest of any, because I think on all the Android sold 50 up until a couple months ago, but I think part of it is we don't know if we really need something like that. So
I'm gonna argue that everybody needs something like it, and and then I'm a base that one on my own experiences. I, like you, had a Pebble previously, and I've done my smartwatch thing and ran to activity trackers, and now I have the Samsung Gear S. But when you stop letting notifications push you around, which is what I wanted to say. Josh Chapolsky over at Bloomberg, his review of him and Nikolai Patel from The Verge, their reviews of the Apple Watch centered on this is a really good thing, but the notifications are killing me.
Yeah.
And the psychology of it is that, we never, for all the speeds and feeds of technology, we probably never did as good a job of teaching ourselves the discipline to what notifications make the most sense.
Right.
And we've left it to the Googles, the Apples of the world to make notifications make relevant sense to us. I think Apple's here is pushing that,
I hate that he froze at just that moment.
Yeah, I know. He had built up to that point.
I think he's right that we need to limit our notifications because I have a Moto 360 and I've turned off all my email notifications because they drive me nuts. Because
then a Facebook
online, I get a lot of email, and so if I left that on, I'd get a notification every 3 minutes.
Exactly. So you'll want to, so do you really need to get a notification every time emails come in, or do you need to get a notification once every 30 minutes for all of those emails that came in the last 30 minutes?
Or if you could create like a favorites list. If my wife texts me, I want to know about it, but I don't necessarily have to know about it, from others.
Exactly.
Every person's different. Every person will be different.
They will. But that's what I'm saying is that's that focus. I think that's the point that Apple's trying to push through, and Pebble's time seems to want to answer that, and Apple seems to want to answer that. It'll be interesting to hear.
Make it easier to configure your notifications, and as far as I'm concerned, maybe the watch will change it. I've not seen the Apple Watch. I've never heard anybody say that the Apple Watch notification customization is great. I know
it's
that
not there yet.
iPhone and Android notification customizations is you either go to the dentist and get a tooth pulled, or you fix your notifications on your phone. One of the other things that came out from Apple is they updated OS 10 to 10.10.3, and have either of you tried out Photos yet?
I've been using it for 2 or 3 months since February, and I've got 35,000 photos in the cloud, and it works great.
Well, I'm very impressed with it. I like it a lot. I did not use iPhoto a lot because I had Aperture.
Yeah, I used Aperture. I moved from Aperture to this in February.
But I just recently switched all my Aperture libraries, backed them up, because I thought I had lost them. I had a hard drive, an external hard drive that suddenly wouldn't show up, and I didn't want to pay the whatever, hundreds or thousands it costs to recover. But my problem with I do so many product shots and then screenshots that get backed up. So my Aperture library will look like this, where I've got a neat picture of my kid and my wife at college visit that we took this week, and then I've got pictures of an HP Chromebook. And then I've got my wife's, dinner from last night, all in my same library.
That looks like my pictures.
Yeah, so it's a little annoying. I wish that there was an easier way to change, what gets put.
Hey, there's my sketch note.
What's that?
Well,
I saw my sketch note I did when
I would recommend turning on the sidebar. Turn on the sidebar, and that gives you more options.
Yeah, turn on the sidebar. Where do I turn that on? Under View?
Probably the View menu, yeah. Yeah, show sidebar.
Yeah. Again, see, I haven't used this as much.
And that gives you better access to different things.
Apple likes sidebars. They turned it on
know.
in iTunes, and then now it's kind of gone in iTunes. Or can you get it back?
You can get it back, but it doesn't come up automatically. But I'm like you. I need that navigation.
I guess we're old-fashioned, Windows File Explorer kinds of guys.
Well, and again, you and I were both in Aperture, and Aperture had access to that, and so I like the fact that you can make it work like Aperture. The interface just by default is like the interface on the iPad. That's what they're doing.
But we're doing a thing in our association highlighting ministries in our association of churches, and so I went over to the community college and just shot that picture with my iPhone real quick so I could get it. But now you can edit it, and it makes it the dark area. Do the automatic enhancement. You can rotate it. Why I would do that on that picture, I don't know, but The main thing I need to do here is crop it. I want to get rid of that little truck over there. And
Oh man, crop. That's a rubber stamp moment. 'Cause the rest of that picture is great. The Sheesh, the community college should actually use the photo. That's a really good shot.
Yeah. By the way, it took about 3 weeks for 35,000 pictures to upload to iCloud.
And then they got filters. Whether if you're a filter kind of person, I do sometimes when I take a bad shot on my phone, I'll use filters to hide how bad it looks. But I don't use them on nice pictures. Like, I mean, this is a phone shot, but it's still that. You can bump up the color a little bit, and anyway, so it's got some nice features here. I could heal out some of these things. Let's see if we can get rid of that.
It doesn't have everything, all the editing features that Aperture had, or I think even iPhoto had, but what's there is a good start, and they've said that they're going to be adding more over time.
So anyway, this is I like photos, and that's sort of the main new feature, isn't it? In 10.10.3, they've got some
other than bug fixes.
And then is there anything to do with the watch in it? I don't know. I haven't paid attention.
Definitely in iOS 8.3 that also came out. That is set up for the watch, but I don't know that the watch does anything directly with the Mac or not. I don't think so. I think it's right now just dependent upon the phone, and the promise is eventually it'll be completely independent.
So, that's something I think would be cool. If I could get a notification when I'm backing up my 330 gigabyte photo library on my computer, and I say, you know what, this thing slows this thing down. I want to get up and go somewhere else, and then I could get a notification on my phone or my watch that says, hey, that backup you did on your Mac is done, and then I could go back and use it. Now that would make a watch useful. And
that would be a secure tunnel from your backup machine through the internet to Apple's servers to your device. I'm sure Apple could pull it off, but it'll be
a series of tubes. Haven't you heard? The internet.
It's just tubes. It's just tubes. Yeah. It's...
Well, guys, this was lots of fun. I really enjoyed getting back with you after a couple of weeks hiatus, and we appreciate Rick you joining us. And I'm
good to be here.
Regular for
Great
the
to have you, Rick.
Foreseeable future. Wes had bedhead. That's why he didn't join us. He sent us a. If we were really mean, we'd show that picture.
I thought you were going to do it, because that would have been fun.
No, I won't do that, because he might have a compromising photo of me someday, and I don't want to tell him. But look, if that's the most compromising photo we have of Wes, he's doing really well.
That's true.
But this has been fun. We really enjoyed it. As always, subscribe to our YouTube feed, and you can watch or you can listen at a later date. Find the links at kevinpurcell.org, or just search for us in iTunes and Stitcher Radio for the audio. And we always have a good time. We put that up. Usually I get it up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, unless life happens, and then it might be a little bit later. And then we've always got some interesting stuff on our personal information and pages and social media, and so try to follow us. You can find out how to do that over at kevinpurcell.org as well. But this has been the Theotek Podcast. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks.
Cheers.